Meanwhile, Vijay, I hope today is better or not so better.
No, it's
No,
not better.
not better. Yeah, so
No.
just to put into perspective to others, also Vijay is actually joining from Qatar. So yeah, his situation there is not so great. So that's
Yeah, actually, even this
why.
morning there was a big attack from Iran in the Qatar LNG plant early
Yeah,
morning.
yeah, I just read that. I just read that. Yeah.
So things are getting worse actually day by day. So what we can do, we can pray only. I don't think so. Nothing else we can do.
Okay. Okay. So hope for
All right.
things to get safe. Yeah.
Yeah, hope everything
Yes.
will be all right soon, inshallah.
So yeah.
Yes. Okay. So it's
Yeah.
three, and I think we shall begin it, right?
Yes. Sure. Sure.
So good evening, everyone. My name is Venkat, and I represent IRO, and a very warm welcome to Tech Dive 7. So Tech Dive 7 is a initiative designed to bring together experts, engineers, infrastructure operators, and also technology innovators to discuss real-world challenges in the complex and critical environment. And the idea is pretty much very simple: to move beyond theory and explore practical insights, emerging risk, and the technology that will shape the future, and especially underwater critical infrastructure management. So now coming to the today's topic. So today's session focuses on a very important and often invisible aspect of our environment: the inspection, the monitoring, and safety of underwater and confined hydraulic infrastructure such as dams, water conveyance, tunnels, and also underground system. And in India, large dams like Terry Dam depend on submerged tunnels and intake systems that are aging and difficult to inspect. Sorry, Uh, uh, yeah, am I audible, guys?
Yes, yes, go ahead.
Sure. And these systems, right, when we are talking about the conveyance tunnels transporting desalination water, these systems cannot always be shut down or drained, and manual inspection are risky and expensive. So, whilst there are solutions like underwater ROVs, what are the on-ground challenges? So, this session is purely going to be a reality check, and also from the experts themselves in terms of understanding from the challenges that we face in dams, the challenges that we face in tunnels, and also the challenges that we from IRO face during operating the ROVs. So, and hence we have all these key speakers. So throughout today's discussion, we aim to just understand the realities of managing such infrastructure, the evolving risk associated with aging assets, and climate pressures. So now let me go to the first sector that we will deep dive into. That's very dam specific. Sorry. Yep. So today,
Continue,
India
yeah.
operates. Am I
Please
audible?
continue. Hmm?
I,
That is
I
audible,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
All right. So now coming to dam. So India today operates over 500 large dams, many built over the period of 1950s and 1960s, which means that the aging is a very important factor. And iconic structures like Bakranangal Dam and also the Terry Dam continue to support irrigation, drinking water, and also hydroelectric power to millions of people. Right, but aging intake tunnel, penstocks, and reservoir structures now require frequent inspection and often zero visibility, high risk underwater environment. And hence, we have Mr. Haridev, right, to talk about the dam inspection, who has spent almost 35 years in geotechnological engineering. He has worked as a joint director at CSMRS and has deep experience in areas like dam safety, tunneling, and also infrastructure inspection. So he is also recognized as a dam safety expert consultant by the National Dam Safety Authority. And sir, we are really glad to have you with us today.
Thank you.
So let me kick it off with my first question to you, sir. So
Yeah.
from your field experience, what are the most critical risks emerging in aging dams today, especially in submerged structures like intake tunnels, penstock, and reservoirs? Over to you, sir.
Yeah. So, first of all, thanks a lot for this, I think, very important topic on tunnel inspections as well as the dam inspections. Yeah.
Right.
So, those parts which are submerged in water all the time. Yeah. So, wherein the human inspections are very risky kind of thing. We cannot use our divers to go down, and that's also, they have also got a limit also. So beyond certain limit, Venkat has already talked about Bhakra. Bhakra is 225-meter high concrete gravity dam. At one point of time, it was the highest in the world also. But now Tehri Dam in India is India's highest dam right now. So regarding Bhakra Dam, so you have rightly pointed out, so they are rather very serious about these the safety aspects of this dam, and they do these underwater inspections very regularly. So every 5 6 years or so, or maybe 8 or 8 years or so, they do it regularly. The submerged sections of the dam, as well as those the condition of the trash racks also in the dam. So as you are coming on to your question, so in dams, the most critical part is your spillways, your crest, your underwater. Uh, Sections which are directly in contact or directly where the water flows. Basically water flows at a high velocity wherein the damages may be more. So many a times you might have heard the news that gates got stuck in the grooves itself. So there are problems in the gate grooves. There are problems in the barrels. In Hirakud also, I think those sluice barrels had the problem. Some repair works were carried out. In many other dams also, such conditions occur. So on the spillway crests, you can find those damages on account of the high velocity of water, and those cannot be inspected by divers. So we need these robotics which can help us in examine our underwater submerged conditions of the dams. So that's what it's an opening remark. So now you can continue. Yeah. What?
Yes, sir. I mean, I have a follow-up question for the same though.
Yeah.
What are the on-ground challenges that you face? I mean, which won't be, probably usually discussed during the initial stage, but then when you get there, as and when, right, that's
Yeah.
when some of the challenges which are unexpected comes all of a sudden. So, are there such challenges, sir?
The challenges are, first of all, many of the dam owners. Coming on to the dams first, yeah. So coming on to the Dam Safety Act, let me say a few words about the Dam Safety Act also.
Sure, sir.
The Act was enacted in 2021, so it's in place now. So, as per the Dam Safety Act, and later on as per the National Register of Specified Dams. Initially, it was you were might be hearing about the National Register of Large Dams. Now it has become National Register of Specified Dams now. So coming on to that, we have got more than 6,500 dams in India which have been specified as specified dams, NRSD. So, as per the Dam Safety Act, so each owner of the each dam has to go for comprehensive dam safety evaluation of the dams. These 6,500 specified dams. So those dams are being owned by the central departments or the state governments or some public sector enterprises, and many of the private developers are also owning these dams. So for that proper an independent panel of experts, they have already designated. Many of them are designating those in IPOE, and those IPO will be examining, reviewing the safety aspects of the all these dams, the
Okay.
both structural as well as non-structural. So, regarding the structural safety of these dams, so whatsoever you can see with your naked eye, visually you can see it and you can examine it. But whatsoever you can't see, so you have to use these kind of robotics. But that's coming on to the challenges. First of all, many of the dam owners don't know who are the service providers in India.
Okay.
So
Okay.
whom to contact? Yeah, that is a very basic challenge. So they don't know. So they although they while inquiring about their aspect, then they come out with the agency. They find the
Okay.
agency, but basically it's a question. This is a first channel. Coming on to the uh, ROV inspections. So the kind of uh, attachments or the kind of specifications of the ROVs which has to be there something. So those should meet the requirements.
Mm.
So many a times you find very some muddy kind of water. Your cameras are not able to videograph it itself. So then you need the help of those technological advances so that you get a clear picture of the surface. Of course, whatsoever we are seeing is the damages on the surface itself.
Okay,
Although the damages starts from the surface and then those penetrate into deep into the dam body.
correct.
So, starting with the visibility issues, so one should those ROVs, those underwater inspection equipments should be of that kind of those should have those kind of arrangements with them. That's one thing. Another thing is even if we are able to visualize it, so we can get the videographs of all these so through the underwater inspections. But coming on to the kind of damages, many times you see the damages. So damages might be in the form of some honeycombing in the concrete. If I say the talk about the concrete gravity dams, so it can be some kind of erosions, it can be of the kind of pits. So how you measure the impact of those erosions, something with the kind of underwater inspections? That is another challenge. So that we are prepared for the remedial action. So, remedial actions can be based upon the kind of damages. First of all, you need to assess the damages. What kind of damages are there, and how deep the damages are there, and how these can be further remedial measures can be undertaken. These are the basic kind of uh,
R-
challenges here.
Right, sir. I mean, if I were to summarize, the uh, primary challenge would be awareness about the services in itself.
Yeah, of course,
The
yeah,
second one would be about the technology advancement in order to provide the right solution. And the
yeah,
third one would be the nature of the damage in itself.
yeah.
Right. So I just want to quickly add Kannapa Johns to this conversation, as in what are the challenges as a service provider that we face on the ground, or what kind of advancement or what stage are we in rightly, and where are we heading in the near future, especially the dam as a sector.
Yeah, so I think I would take it up. So hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
Kannapa.
so thank you, Haridev sir. So it has been definitely very informative, and what you shared is something which I also very much closely reflect on most of the cases. So as one key thing that he also pointed out is that the submerged section, which is on the side, which often is not known, and it is already continuously getting pounded by water, and through every it's a monsoon season, cyclic loading and then unloading. So this creates a lot of I would say structural changes, but what is happening down there is often unknown. And as you rightly said, as a technology provider, when it comes to the ROV based inspections, what one of the common I would say challenge that we often face is about the water visibility, as you rightly said.
yeah,
So yeah, so it changes. So practically speaking, just around the column of water itself, we have seen that at surface it is good. In the mid waters, we get green algae, and as we go down, we got all the cloud plume. In a simple column of water, we found different colors. So this is very true, and often understanding, and I would say getting more often when the visibility is poor, you will only be able to appreciate a micro level issue, whereas if the defect is on a macro level, appreciating the larger size and I would say intensity of a problem becomes more and more challenging. So that is one of the real I would say field challenge when it comes to ROE based visual inspections or surfacial inspections. But as rightly said, we definitely have been actively employing certain imaging based sonar systems which go beyond visual and then provide a certain level of perception. But yes, it does need a certain amount of skilling for the pilots and the experts who are assessing the data. But that being said, that is one very effective tool which we generally call as imaging sonars, which uses multiple beams to actually capture the full region and give a perception, which when correlated by experience with experts who already would have seen similar situations and scenarios and what to expect, then it gives an effective situational awareness about what has happened there rather than just reading them discretely. It should be combinedly read. So expertise about the structure plus expertise or understanding of reading the data was, one way how we are dealing with when it comes to water visibility conditions. And second, it's on mostly on the operational situation itself. It's about localized leakages and suction. So that is one of the obvious, I would say, uh, susceptible, I would say, hazards when it comes to hydropower. So it is not just for human, for any machine also, every system it affects. So the local suctions and how we carefully navigate that and yet being able to capture the data is something which operationally we have to understand and get ourselves used to and then safely execute. Or else there could be scenarios where there can be some suctions which can cause the system to get stuck there or entangled there, and make it very difficult or not able to recover at all. So that is something where we need to plan properly. So that is one operational challenge we often face as a service provider when we are deploying systems into particularly hydropowers, because of the localized suction phenomena which might arise due to any mild leaks or anything from the I would say hydropower point of view. Maybe say a 100 liters or 1,000 liters might not be a large thing, but the localized suction is so heavy that sometimes it just sucks things and then get it stuck onto the point itself. So that is the eminent danger that often is there for diver based inspection also. So the advantage that a robotic system brings is that at least we can avoid a human at danger by putting a system at and even if we risk, the worst is only a system, nothing much hazard to human. So that's the way we look at it. So these are the things that we have been encountering, and that's how I see this. And these are kind of
Yeah.
solutions. Yeah.
So I would like to add something also, more also.
Yes, sir.
So these hydropower stations, these are associated with the intake structures also, wherein you find, but many a times the owners are not in a position to shut down also, take shutdown also, and then those areas, how to inspect those areas in Bakra when we were inspecting, then we usually ask them to shut one unit, and so that the other unit can be trash rack on the other unit can be inspected. Those things can be done. But coming on to your question, which you have rightly pointed out, the leakages to the dam body. I am talking about the leakages to the dam body that can be substantial also in certain dams, and many a times you find these leakages through the concrete block joints, and those the water barriers which we put, like these PVC water stops and other these things. So those gets damaged, or then the water starts penetrating through these joints. So how to can our systems identify those suction points also, because those are not like those intake structures like that. So with there also some suction is already going on. Can our ROVs or our underwater robotics, can those detect also? But many a times another thing is there. Many a times in one of the dams we witness another challenge. During construction on the upstream phase of the dam, on the concrete dam, they had just inserted some sort of dowels or some sort of reinforcement bars which were protruding from the surface itself while maneuvering your ROV inside water. So how these can be taken care of? This is another challenge which we noticed here.
Very, 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 very truly pointed out, sir. So yeah, so some points to share in that alignment would be that. So as you rightly said, for the localized leakages, yes, we are actually looking for deploying fluorescent dye from ROV itself. That is some solution that we are actively exploring, wherein localized suctions can be now traced at least by injecting on local points. That is something.
Yeah,
And
just excuse me, but you have to identify certain areas wherein this is
yes,
expected. Yeah,
yeah,
dye will also
likelihood,
work
yeah,
only. Yeah.
yeah, only likelihood has to be first suspected. So probably what as an operationally we do is that when actually, let's say you have concrete block joints wherein you suspect, mostly it is the block joint points is the most common point of leakage. That is one
Yeah.
way of assessing. And secondly is that if some leakage or through leakage is noticed, in the identified in the gallery regions, then the user itself might have some suspected ideas that it could be from this zones, let's say block between X and Y or something. So then we generally look in thorough, like every meter wise we can do thorough survey wherein we inject at local points. That is some way, but it is more intensive, but still it is better than not just visually trying out where you cannot understand what is happening. So this is some means what we actually employ now, and we have been quite successful at some of our tryouts also on such inspection for leakages. And additionally, when it comes to which you said about the projected articles and tether entanglement, yes, it is one of the very very eminent and very true susceptible hazard when it comes to hydropower. But moreover, there it's again very much an operational coordination, because you just cannot get away with the cable. So it is more about how well we plan that and send the tethers. So often, let's say if you are entering into an intake structure or something, your tether is expected to take a 90-degree. So we need to, if we can manage, we can have the whole system far away from the point of deployment, that you get a far lower angle into the entry rather than a steep angle from the top of the dam itself, which gives a very tight 90-degree bend. So such kind of operational planning effectively goes into prior to deployment, so that we don't directly enter or give an option for tether entanglement. That being said, we do also have in our systems, you would also see that we even use backward pointed cameras, so that even if some entanglement or some suspected things are seen, we can even reverse pilot and then detangle ourselves. But again, it is actually quite operation intensive and skill based. So that's how the part of cable management is being executed now to the most of the projects. So we had been quite successful and had been able to operate in few many tunnels also to quite a very long lengths also. So that's how it has been. Yes, maybe I would let John, if some points is also there, you can check. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll not spend too much time. I'll like Vijay to comment on his experience. Probably
Right.
Venkat can. I think Kanapa had covered most of the points, so I'll
Yeah.
not speak much.
Yes.
So I'll probably talk about the next points. Kanapa
Yeah.
has covered most
Agree.
of the.
Yeah, yes.
Sure.
Another point which
Sure.
comes to my mind is, so of course when we are inspecting the upstream phase of the dam, then it's almost the profile is maintained and it is much easier. But coming on to the appurtenance of this dam, for example, the stealing basin. Suppose some damages have occurred in the stealing basin. So, but there in wherein the profile of concrete is not as smooth as your upstream phase of dam. Yeah. So there also you might be encountering some sort of big boulders or some sort of reinforcement and other things. If that has to be inspected, so how will you maneuver, yeah, take care of that? Yeah, in uh, those conditions.
Yes, yeah. So I think, yeah, again it is quite operational, but as you rightly said, so more often we decide is the region is being mapped by, let's say you have your chain edges, and then we decide line wise mapping, and then we can use the underwater positioning system as a reference at one point and then run systematic lines. And as you rightly said, most often the stilling basin waters are quite, I would say, often murky, or algae blooms will be like greenish kind of thing. So visibility will be quite poor. So we generally heavily depend on sonar based piloting.
Sonar based.
So yeah, so sonar is very very critical there. So forward looking imaging sonar based piloting is very critical. That gives you a navigation sense also, and that itself is your first tool for capturing any data. So if say there are large potholes or something, or let's say you have some what you call as energy dissipating structures which are broken and all, that and all we can easily capture with sonar itself, because they got a very specific shape. Let's say generally it's like a kind of a 90-degree triangles to chop off the water, and they are staggered. So you can easily look at them, or totally broken, or their tips are broken and all. That is quite evident from imaging sonar data itself than generally depending on visual, because visual, as I rightly said, often makes you go so close to get any sense of it, but it's too small, you may not be able to make out the larger problem. So we generally combine the
But there is potential risk of entrapping of your vehicle also, damages to the vehicles also in such
so
situations. Yeah.
so
So
that's yeah. So rightly, it's actually a coordinated act where, sir, we have to manage the cable also. Very,
yeah.
I would say it's a tandem act. That's why we generally in a operational deployment itself, you generally have like 3 or 4 person. So one person is a dedicated tether handler. Why he is? Because he very well understands based on the commands how the vehicle is piloted. So we decide on the spot how to manage that. But very true, such challenges are there. But uh, instantaneous data is needed in such decision making. So cable is unavoidable, but how to effectively manage the cable, that's how operationally we have to
That,
plan.
that that's my question was that only how you manage it, and it's a basically a tiresome process. Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually kind of a skill management, but
Yeah.
that's I would say the current state of art best way, because we need to get live data and make decisions on it, because the problem
Yeah.
is that autonomous systems are there. If you
Yeah.
make autonomous, the problem is that you will identify, but after some time where somewhere you are there, then
No,
you
no,
need to
no.
process, then go back, and you don't have a decision making capability. So that's where
You have to take on-site
yes,
decisions only. Yeah.
decisions also,
And
because you want
real time decisions. Yeah.
real-time
Huh,
decisions. So yeah,
very
cable is
true.
Yeah.
unavoidable. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you so much, Kanapa, and thank you so much, Hari sir. Now I think people will have so many questions. We will park it towards the end of the conversation. Now it's time for us to introduce our second speaker, Vijay sir. So across the GCC market, the rapid urbanization and even the water security challenges have led to some of the development of excessive underground water conveyance and stormwater tunnel systems. So now we have Mr. Vijay Kumar, who leads operation at Agaste Valencia International, and his day-to-day work involves managing and maintaining sewer, stormwater, and also water pipeline networks, right? And he brings a very, very on the field, practical, on ground perspective to everything that we are going to discuss today. Welcome, Mr. Vijay Kumar.
Thank you very much, Hiro
Yes.
team. Thank you, Venkat, for keeping me here. Thank you, Kanapa, and thank you, Jones. And thank you to Mr. Hari. And nice. I heard something I learned today about this dam before, so I don't have any experience. It's good that I took some points.
Yeah.
Thanks
Yes.
thanks for
Thank.
the information.
Yeah. Welcome.
So moving
Yeah.
on to our subject, yes, as Venkat was saying, I'm currently connected from Qatar, and I'm handling here drainage operation maintenance. And I'm responsible for the stormwater network and foul sewer network, and as well as treated water network. So to begin with, I can see like there are many other audience as well in the chat. So maybe some have experience in the drainage, some may not have experience in the drainage. So I just want to give a small scenario for them to understand what we are talking. So to the team, like I'm just giving you a small story. Let's say some consider a small scenario. We are in a city, uh, everything going well, many skyscrapers, very nice city, and everything goes well. And suddenly, imagine there is a rain, and within 1 hour the entire city is flooded with water, and then the people are stuck. They don't know what to do. All the underpasses are jammed, and all the manholes are flooding with water. So imagine this situation. So just stop here and think what happened. So is it due to the rain, or is it due to the system failure, drainage system failure? So here we will take our topic further. So this is what we are going to discuss today. So
Understood.
this is
Understood.
how the drainage system is so important, and mostly these drainage systems are not visible. They are always under the ground. So many people, they don't notice what is there below the ground, and they are like let's say under the world. These drainage networks are under the world and operating 24/7 continuously without stopping. If they stop, this is what going to happen. There will be a flood, and then it will become noticeable to each and everyone. So this is the importance of this drainage network.
Uh,
So again, to
yeah.
yeah, Venkat, sorry.
So I was just saying, like, if I can kickstart with my first question to you, and then we
Yeah,
can build on top of that, if that's all right with you.
sure, sure, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because again, since you come from a hardcore field experience, so from an execution and maintenance standpoint, what are the biggest challenges operators face when inspecting or maintaining long water tunnels, which are like 10 kilometers, 30 kilometers, or probably like 50 kilometers, like what you were suggesting the other day, like, and also the underground utility systems, especially the GCC market.
Yeah, see here in drainage, again, we need to classify them in three different parts. In general, we call them like a drainage, but each there are different type of drainage system here, especially in GCC. The first system is called stormwater system. It's purely for to carry out, to take the rainwater management. And then there is another drainage network called foul sewer system. Also, it's called raw sewage, where the water is collected from the septic tanks. It goes to the pumping station, and then it goes to the treatment plant. They treat the water, and then it comes out as a treated water. So after the treatment plant, it's considered as another network. So treated water network. So the
Okay.
stormwater network and then the raw sewage network both are gravity, I would say, more or less. Whereas the treated water network is completely different. This is purely a pressure network.
Mm.
So after the pumping station, the treatment plant, it is pressurized and then it is sent to for various purposes, for factories, agricultural, irrigation, many things. So now we are talking about three different networks, and each network is unique. Each network has its own operation maintenance philosophy, and each network is unique in terms of their design, their size, their depth, everything. So each one has again different challenges, I would say.
Challenges. Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can elaborate a bit on what
Yeah.
are these challenges here.
Yeah, sure. So if we go through, let's say I will talk about first the stormwater network quickly. I'll not take much time. I will go through very quickly. So the stormwater network, as I told you, like it's very important and it's a backbone of a city, and let's say under the ground, no one will see until there is a problem. It's like let's say for the others also, it's like our blood vessel vein in our body. If the vein is clear, we are okay. If any blockage in our vein, then there is some problem.
Nice
So
analogy.
always
Yeah.
we should make sure that no blockage in our vein. So for that, whatever required, like going to the pre-medical checkups, the same way here we need to do the preventive maintenance for the networks.
Right.
Continuously do the preventive maintenance so that there is no any issue in the tunnels or the shallow pipeline, whatever we say. So if you take the stormwater network, again, it has like we can differentiate into two types. Let's say shallow network and then deep network. The shallow network means approximately, let's say, some 5 meter deep, and whereas we have deep tunnels as well, it goes up to 30 meter, 35-meter deep. So what is happening when there is rain? Water collected to the road gullies. We have gullies on all the roads sites. So the water is collected into the road gully. From there, it goes to the shallow network first. It's like a carrier, let's say. From the carrier, the water goes to the main tunnel. From the main tunnel, then it goes to the last pumping station, and then from there it's pumped to the sea finally. So this is how more or less the system is functioning, the stormwater system. So if you have any to what we are doing here, every time we plan the preventive maintenance, we have some frequency, like we clean the pipe network every year, every 2 years once, according to the criticality of the network, and then we make sure that the lines are always clean. And what if there is any problem? Let's say if there is any block, This is where the question comes,
Right.
If there is any block in the shallow network, there are many ways to clean the network. But imagine there is a block in the deep tunnel which is 30-meter deep, and for some reason, someone did not notice this for many years, and suddenly now there is a big rain, and then this complete network is clogged. Then the entire city is in the trouble. So what to do now? This is the question.
Hmm.
So here comes, there are many technologies, many experts like you guys, IRAV. So even we worked with the IRAV team.
Mhm.
The last 2 years, we have
Oh,
did some inspection in one of the deep tunnels here in Qatar.
right.
And there are some technologies we are currently using, like CCTV. We used to put normally the CCTV camera inspection into the pipeline to see what is the condition of the pipe, first of all, whether the block is small or big, and what is the material. And then we have some other camera types also to do this inspection. And then we also use a drone. We are sending drones inside the tunnels to see the condition. And also we are using the ROV, the one from IRAV we utilized last time. So these are some ways we are, it's not like proactive. Let's say if there any incident happen, we are using this technology to see them what happened really.
Diagnostics.
And how to clean them is another question. Okay, now we identified the problem. Okay,
Right.
thanks to IRAV team. But what to do next? No one knows. No, so this is another big strategy, let's say, to clean a tunnel 30-meter, 40-meter deep, and let's say the block is somewhere in the middle of the tunnel where you don't have any single access. How to clean them is it's not an easy task. So these are some challenges. The shallow network has its own challenge, deep tunnel has its own challenge. So this is how
I
this is done.
understand.
So I think it's similar to our water tunnels also, pressure tunnels
Exactly.
in hydropower. So there also we are facing some problems. Suppose those pressure tunnels have got some problem. In Nathpa Jhakri, the length of the at-risk tunnel is 27 kilometers. It's 27-kilometer long tunnel and no way to enter into the tunnel in between here. The inlet
Exactly.
and the outlet here. Outlet exits into the shaft and the inlet is there at the dam side here. So there's no means to get into it. But suppose something happens midway of the tunnel, around 10 kilometer or so, just like this. So we can
Yeah.
inspect it either from the shaft side or from the inlet side, maybe from the desilting chamber side or something like that. So we can send your ROV. Now, my question is, can we use these technologies for inspecting a tunnel section which is at a distance of around 10 kilometers from your monitoring point? Yeah. So can we do it? Yeah. And if we can do it, then what can are we expecting some sort of data losses, data delays, and other things also in this? So I just want to inquire whether this that can be inspected or not. Can we do
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. So I'll just answer the question. We have recently developed in the last few months, we developed a specialized ROV called TS-ROV, which is a tunnel specific ROV, which can
Okay.
go into tunnels of up to 10 kilometers in range
Yeah.
and then do the survey and come back. And it has a endurance of close to 24 hours actually. So it has enough time to go to 10 kilometers in tunnel length and then come back within that timelines. So it is developed over years. Initially, we were doing it few kilometers and then we extended the range. So we have built the capability to survey tunnels of up to 10. Even we have now capabilities going beyond that, but currently our tether limitation currently is up to 10, but it can be even extended beyond to 15 or maybe 18 kilometers. It can still be expanded. And also the vehicle not just collect videos, but also collect profiling data of the tunnels at various cross sections at the speed at which you go. So it can identify, actually you have an as-built drawing, you can build a current profiling and then compare with the as-built drawing to detect what has been the deformalities in the tunnels, and if there has been any serious debris found, then of course it can be further evaluated during the survey. So we have done in the
Uh,
past, we have done
but this
2.0. If we have done already 4.5 kilometers, one 5 kilometers, recently one 2.5 kilometers. So we have done already in the last few months. We have done those projects.
Actually, why I'm asking is there's one tunnel in Uttarakhand, yeah. So maybe they might have contacted to you also. I'm not aware. Maneri Valley Hatteras tunnel. There are some issues in the Maneri Valley tunnel. So some leakages are there. They are expecting some damages in the concrete lining. I
Right.
think so. It's I think a 4 5 kilometer or so from
Yes.
the
Yes.
minimum distance is something
Yes.
like that. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
if that is if some that kind of technological advances are available, then they can
No.
take the
Sure.
subsidy,
Sure.
available subsidy.
Okay. Okay. Noted, sir.
And also a follow-up question to Kannappa. So, in the near future, what kind of autonomy we can expect in underwater tunnel survey, or like how far are we from it?
Yeah, so something which we have been also like exploring or working on is one of the things as Haridev sir also pointed out is that when it particularly comes to maybe to the hydro tunnel at least that often they have all these what you call as uh, rock bolts and all to stabilize the rocks throughout. So that often becomes one of the potential hazard for inspections because of a cabled system being sent. And I had one chat with one American geologist. He himself called it as like a rock bolt forest. Okay, so there are places where there are so many, projecting in every direction. So that kind of
But
places are
hydro tunnels are mostly concrete lined, yeah, in
no,
general.
sir, no. We actually had been working with unlined tunnels also. We even entered there also, got trapped there
Yeah,
also. So we have that experience after. Very true.
yeah.
Very true. Mostly now it is being done, but we have actually entered unlined also. So that is something where this is susceptible. So there we are actually, as Venkat probed, so we are working on a level of autonomy that once if such an incident or something is had unfortunately been encountered, we are devising that the system self detaches from its cable and then reroutes or remaps all the way back to the exit. So this is more like an exit strategy. So for the safe exit, because mostly these hydro structures are directly ending in a penstock and it is directly going to turbine and you have no other way out. So bringing them safely is very critical for the infrastructure owner also to start operating the turbine once the shutdown is also done. So for those critical reasons, we are already working on such capabilities, exploring that full autonomy is made possible in worst case scenarios. We can actually do a full mapping also autonomously, but the point is that very often, as we already said, that live data streaming is something critical for the user because you want to see what is inside and make some local decisions, do close-up visuals, which cannot happen if we do all autonomous. So though there is an autonomy, we prefer it to be like worst case scenario, return based issues are there, then it chooses a autonomous return uh, trajectory and then come out safely and you are just left with a cut piece of cable. That's it. So that vehicle is out and the system water network is clear for operation. That's the one of the way we are now looking at autonomy. Yeah.
Understood. So before I open the mic to the audiences, I just have one last question to Vijay sir. Sorry, I'm troubling you. One more
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, no, actually, still I didn't finish, Venkat. Just I have two more things
Yes.
to
Yeah. So
discuss.
yes. Sure. Sure.
Yeah. No, I just gave you a brief about the stormwater network, and then
Right.
same way we have another network called foul sewer network, which is the raw sewage, and it is another different type of challenges again in the same network because the stormwater network at least it will be full whenever there is a rain. In remaining days, the network is always free. But this foul water network, it's always full. Why? Because it's collecting the water from the septic tanks, and it's not a seasonal related network, but the storm water is more related to seasonal work. So here in foul water, you have other type of challenges. You will have normally no option to control the flow. It's always full. You cannot bypass the stations. You cannot stop the stations. Meaning, like no shutdown is allowed normally in the station. And hardly, even if you want to do major repairs, hardly half an hour to 1 hour you can shut down, not more than that, because the station will be receiving waters continuously. So these are some challenges. And also, if you want to do the inspection, the stormwater, at least in the stormwater you can, it's not allowed to send people, but at least somehow you can enter inside with the SCABA, all the safety equipments. But in the foul water network, it's more dangerous, because you will have has gases, H2S, and also the water smell, more carbon monoxide, everything. So it's all very dangerous for the human being to enter inside the foul water network. So this will be another challenge to maintain this foul sewer network if something happen. So this is where we are depending more on this technology oriented part in foul sewer network, how to do the predictive maintenance, and also if there is any issue, how to clean them without having human access into it. This is another type of falseware. Also, to sending a robot, for example, we used, I think, ROV from IRO, which can go inside the water, for 100% immersed inside the water. We used in the stormwater network. Whereas we cannot use the same equipment in falseware, because in the falseware tunnel, you will be having many debris, plastics, tissues, this will go and clog the propellers.
Hmm.
So this
Correct.
type of issues you'll be having in the fault sewer network. So for that, we need something different type of equipments, or something inbuilt. I don't know. So these are some other different type of equipment we need to work on to see the how we can do the inspection. And after inspecting, we found some issues. Then what is our next step? How we can mitigate? How we can clean this? This is also another big challenge. And so far, we have very few companies around the globe, to do this type of work. And as I told you before, these drainage structures are always under the ground. So people normally they don't notice. It's
Correct.
invisible assets. So everyone is concentrating above ground assets. So the below ground is assets are also equally important. No matter how the city is looking beautiful above the ground, it's also important. No, the drainage systems are working fine. Otherwise, in a day, everything will be collapsed.
Yeah,
Right.
actually, rightly pointed out. So everything, I think the performance depends upon the outlet performance of the outlets. These are the
Exactly.
outlets. You close the outlet, and you will maybe pose to so many problems. Yeah, outlets
Exactly.
should always. It can be compared with the human life also. Humans also something is
Correct. Correct.
also.
Yes.
The outlet should work all the time. Yeah, so those should
Yeah.
cannot be clogged. Yeah.
If no
Right.
complaint, meaning if the system is working 24/7 correctly without any issue,
Yeah.
everyone is happy. No one
Yeah.
will notice this. If any issue, it will be like a major issue. It will be visible to
Yeah.
everyone suddenly.
Definitely. Yeah.
So this is, and then the last third network, what we are dealing is also the treated water network. So once we send the raw sewage into the plant, it gets all the treatments. It's a big treatment plant, and all the water is getting treated, and almost closer to the drinking water, level. We are treating this waters, especially in the Gulf region.
Right.
And after that, this water is coming out as a treated water, and then we are sending them to the farms for the agriculture purpose. And then we have a lot of parks, irrigations, and then some factories for the water. So these waters are utilized. So this network is completely different from the foul sewer network, and as well as the storm water network. This is totally pressurized network, and 99% is only through operating through pressure. And always we are supposed to maintain this pressure in the network. Otherwise, the end users will not receive the water.
Right.
So if something happen in this pressurized network, normally nothing will happen. There will not be any blocks in the pressurized network, and always it will be free. And but if something happen, then it's a big challenge. It requires immediate response. We cannot hold the water. There will be lot of water loss, and these are the things. Some other challenges what we have in the treated water network.
Understood. So this is similar to what happens with desalination tunnels also.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Let's say.
Understood. Understood. Got it.
So
I
this
mean,
was the overview to give you to understand what is this drainage, what is there in the below the ground.
thank you so much. This was much more educative for sure. I mean, my last question that I was about to ask, you have already answered. It was about shutdown, especially in the Suya network, and how long it is going to be. So you have already answered it. So I think
Exactly.
we might open the mic to the audience. If John's Kanapa, you want to add anything, or can you open the mic to the audience?
Yeah. So, before we start the Q, I just wanted to, share some thoughts what Vijay and actually posted regarding the like sewage networks or the foul sewer network. So something, as you rightly said, most often these networks are partially filled, so not fully filled and mostly gravity driven. So we have actually solutions which can passively be deployed on these networks and can trace along with the flow and then do the mapping. And again, this can be also a tethered system, so that we can recover it as also effectively. That is something we are actually formalizing with our existing platforms itself, so that you don't have to propel it actively until unless it gets, or I would say, needs some push or propulsion to get out of somewhere. Let's say it gets stuck in muck or something like that, but that also we can have covered propulsions, like we have trash guard and all, with which you can still, it needs to push water, but does not easily get clogged by any floating debris like plastics and also that. We are actually having solutions particularly for foul networks. And as finally mentioned about the pressurized line, that is something definitely we would also love to in tunnel, since we got, and hydropower is also pressurized, but in a different way, that there is no close end, so I can still deploy under pressure. But as you said, your networks which are blocked in both ends, or maybe having pumps and the pipes on the other end, so that is something
Correct.
new for us. Yeah, we need to explore how to enter that safely, maintain the pressure, and still do some inspection if ever needed. So that is something we would also explore about. Yeah, that's my thoughts. Yes, John's.
And then one last question from my side to you, Kannappa.
Sure, sure.
This false network, this equipments are at us. We have the
Currently, all are, yes, yes. Now, we haven't officially have a ATEX certification, but all of them are a sub 24-volt powered. So ATEX compliant certification we have to do. Yes.
okay, great. So that's it from my side,
All right.
Venkat.
Yes,
I will
thank you
leave
so
it
much,
to you.
Vijay. Johns, you would like to add anything, or should I?
I think we can take up, since we are short of time, we can go ahead and take some questions.
Sure, sure, Johns. So thank you so much, speakers, for the perspective on dam safety and also underground tunnel maintenance. So, audience, now is the time for you to ask questions. I start seeing few questions coming in. So here is the first question for both Hari sir and Vijay sir. So, uh, in terms of hydraulic condition, at how much water velocity maximum can your ROVs operate? Sorry, it's for Kannapa. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. So ideally speaking, we generally like to keep it around 1 meter per second or below. That being said, if it is unavoidable, then we can choose certain operative methodologies, like operating along the flow by controlling the tether payout, so that we can still manage and get a effective survey done if it is an unavoidable situation that 2 meter 2.5 meter per second flow is always throughout there. So this is how I take it. But if it is has to go against flow, it is generally not the preferred condition, because it drastically consumes the endurance capability of the system, that is the ROV. That's how I take it. Yeah.
Mr.
For,
Mohammed,
So
I
just to
believe. Sure,
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, so just to add to, when these are specialized conditions where you cannot stop the flow in a tunnel or a pipeline, where, as Kannappa said, we will have to take advantage, instead of going against the currents, we will have to take advantage of the currents and then flow in the direction of the currents, and then probably you will have to. So it is a specialized operational. It is not impossible. It can be done. We will have to know more details of the project, and then we can take it up separately.
I
Fair
hope
enough.
that answers
Fair.
Robert's question. Yeah.
So this
Yes,
question is
but Jones, so ultimately your ROV has to be retrieved, yeah, no? So suppose let
Yeah,
me do it. So inspection, of course, the inspections can be done, but in the I think while retrieval, I think it has to go against the flow, yeah.
No,
yeah.
it actually, as that's the point I want to add, is that as the cable itself can be used as a pulling system, and we can pull against the flow. That is definitely
Yeah,
doable.
yeah,
Yeah.
So
that's right.
yeah, so basically the logic probably could be done is, if there is another exit point, the ROV, the tether could be taken out, and just the ROV retrieved, and then you need to only retrieve back the tether. And for us, there are some untethered option also, where if it is semi-filled, then we have an option of untethered option there where you deploy and then you will retrieve back on the other exit point. So a couple of options, but we will need to know understand the exact scenario and to give us the right solution.
Okay, thank you.
And so next question again is from Robert. So how often do we inspect the tunnels for marine growth, uh, biocides, mucils, etc. Inside the tunnel? How often do we have to inspect it? Hari sir, Vijay sir.
So if you ask me, like the tunnels are normally designed with the self-cleansing velocity in general, and tunnels are not required to do the maintenance very frequently. First of all, so whenever there is an issue, then we start the inspection because all these networks are connected. Especially here in the Middle East region, I would say the tunnels and all the complete systems are connected to the SCADA, the master seat. From there we will be able to see what is happening below the ground, and if there is any issue, if there is any clog, we will have alarm in the system. So by the time then we enter and we go and do the inspections. In normal conditions, it's not required to do every year or twice. So it's recommended only for the shallow network. As far as for the deep tunnels, normally at least once in 10 years is fine to do the inspection, not like every year.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I would like to add a bit more here because I think the question was posed in a sense for seawater intake tunnels, which is primarily used for cooling of power plants. That is what the intent they have posted it for. So, what I would additionally add to what Vijay sir said is that actually in that cases generally what we have observed as a user is that client used to get an excessive pumping load in their pump. So that is the first instant where they start looking for if there is any serious marine growth or clogging happening in the line. So that could be taken as the first instant, and then based on the local marine environment and the temperature zone, generally what you have seen is in warm water bodies with good nutrients the marine growth is quite high, whereas in cold intake regions it is quite low. So if it is your zone of interest is in a warm area, it will be higher marine growth, and then you have to map it repeatedly, let's say maybe one or two cycles to get an average understanding of how often should your tunnel be inspected for marine growth and proceed for a cleaning, rather than I would say a timeline like let's say 1 year 2 year like that. So it depends on your region and the pump load. So what we have observed is that most often in the thermal power plant that we also encountered in India and all, they actually map the pump load which is going excessive, which can obviously because of increased friction in the line, which is obviously because of marine growth or some choke points happening. So from that this planning is done, and then subsequently we can go for a cleaning methodology. Generally there are some chemical dosing happens which actually inhibits the growth of marine organisms, so you don't get much marine growth. But if it still happens so high, then we can go for some heavy brush or water jet, or we call as cavi blast based cleanings. These are all capabilities that we have which can be employed based upon your scenarios. That's how we take this. I just want to add upon. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kanapa, for the clarity. The next question is from Priyanshu Jain. Can we use different light wavelength systems such as red, yellow, be used effectively in murky water?
Okay. Yeah. So yes, quite technical. Yeah. So definitely yes, as you rightly said, yes, we do use different what you call as temperature of light to get better visibility. That being said, the water absorption is very different for different colors. So it's actually a game of what is the kind of suspended particles in the water, what is the distance at which you want to map the object of interest, and thirdly, are you interested in the color information? Sometimes let's if it's offshore structure and all, clients are very particular, they want to get the color information because corrosion information comes from the color contrast differences. So if I use any colored light, it will actually obscure and then you will not get the true color, so you may not be able to appreciate the real issues. So yes, Colored lights generally helps, but it's a combination of water. Even between the clear water, saline water, the property changes. Turbidity, what kind of turbidity is there, it actually affects the light performance. And thirdly, why you are doing the inspection. If it is just to get a structure, yes, you can play with colors. But if color information is very important, let's say choral studies or something like that, definitely you have to go for the warm white light and you cannot do anything else. So that's how we choose light based on those conditions. I hope that
Sure.
share.
Because Kanappa, if I'm remembering, so,
Yeah,
so one of your system that contains some clear water window, something like that, that
correct,
also.
correct,
Yeah,
correct.
that system can also work in certain circumstances. Yeah.
Very, very
That's
true,
what.
sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we do have that clear water compartments which displaces turbid water and gives you a visibility, but it is on close range, but it is still good enough than having no visibility. So that's how I call it as an additional option which we can use.
Okay. Kanapa, again, given our strict time constraint that we have, we will just take one more call. Sorry, one more question. This is from Anand Vardhan. How can we approach cleaning tasks that involve collection of waste, including plastics and rope sheds? These might pose a threat to propellers and hydrofoil geometries of the body.
Yeah, I think that is one of the key challenge what Vijay sir also posted when he started with the sewage network. So this is genuinely true with most of the propeller system. So as a vehicle solution developer, we generally have certain trash guards to prevent the entry of such systems. That is option number one. And second is that if it is a floating platform like our autonomous vehicles or kind of bodies, we actually use water jet based propulsion, which again has a very good trash guard, and you cannot suck in obstacles directly into it because it got a suction point which is well below the water level. So floating obstacles will not directly get into the pumping systems. So this way we can mitigate to a level. But yes, that being said, it depends very much upon the kind of shreds. If it is say very thin, like the fishing nets and kind of threads, then it is very difficult to filter them out. So then you have to, there are some fine choppers which are generally used in larger propellers where they actually shred, or what we call as shear cut, this threads into smaller pieces so that they will not choke the propeller altogether. But this is generally done on high power systems, not on very low power vehicles. Generally in larger high power vehicles, you got systems to actually shear and cut off this propellers into small pieces, and then they are just pushed out through the aft. That is also possible. Yeah,
All right.
that's
Right.
how I would share that.
So
Yeah.
I believe we are towards the end of our event for the day, right? So Hari sir, Vijay sir, Johns, Kanapa, thank you so much. Today's discussion highlighted an important reality: critical infrastructure such as dams, tunnels, and as assets age and the climate risk intensify, the ability to continuously understand what is happening, like what Vijay kept telling, under beneath the surface, where which we don't get to see, hidden environments will become very, very essential for us. And this is where engineering expertise, operational experience, and emerging technologies must work together. And before we wrap up, before we close, I am happy to announce that our Tech Dive 8 will be held on 23rd April, uh, and which is a Thursday. And the discussion will be on underwater remotely operated vehicles application in search and rescue, aka disaster management. Thank you to our speakers once again and audience for a very, very insightful session. Good day, everyone.
And
Thank you. Thank you
thank
very
you,
much.
Venk, for starting this important discussion. I think in the
Thank you.
so
Thank you,
we
sir.
are I was just pointing out.
Ji.
So all these dams, more than 6,500 dams, those are to be comprehensively evaluated their safety up till December 2026, as per the Dam Safety Act.
Good.
So it's a very important subject area. So thanks a lot for choosing this subject here.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Just to add what I have seen also in the industry is that more than reactive, we have to become more proactive approach
Yeah.
where we identify defects, anomalies, and problems in the assets we have, because these are all critical assets where challenges and problems, we cannot wait for an incident to happen and then become reactive. We need to have systems and policies, because we have seen in India, or probably most of the Asian countries, we have not seen any policies around asset inspections. If you see in oil and gas industries, there is that in once in 2.5 years, 5 years, inspection is to be done mandatorily. But we don't have a policy level in for tunnels or critical assets. If one of the tunnels get blocked, the impact is very high, where an entire city electricity is being generated through the power generation facility. So some of my submission is we need to sit around and on brainstorm on what policies should come, what is the frequency of these assets need to be done in a timely manner, and become more proactive than a reactive approach. And then it makes the asset owners also more, I would say, enable them to do this inspection on a proactive manner. So policy driven, then the asset owner can take more effective actions on a proactive basis for these assets actually. So that's my final thoughts to the.
Thank you, Jones. And other participants, you might have a lot of questions. And since we are running short on time, my team will be sharing with you a Google form where you can share your queries and we can get back to you at the earliest. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank
much.
Thank you,
you.
thank you
Thank
all,
you.
thank you all.
Thank you all. Thank you for your time.